All right, why don't we get started? I know we're about a minute early, but that's fine. Um, Whoa, what is going on with my picture here? Let me just fix that real quick. All right, why don't we get started? That's fine. Uh-oh. Um, Whoa, what is going on with my laptop? Technical difficulties. I guess I needed another second or two. But that looks pretty good now. Looks like we've got one person watching. Let me fix this here. That should actually be pointed here. All right, that's pretty good. It's funny, I had this all set up, ready to go, and as soon as I hit record, it was all jacked up. All right, happy Friday. I hope you all had a wonderful week. Man, it's been a crazy one for me. We've had just different. I had company. I think I told you guys on Monday that I had company through the first part of the week, and he left out Wednesday. But then that's when where I work, we had an offsite influence some folks to join us. So we had a couple people in for that, and I usually kind of play host slash chaperone, which I love to do. They always treat me so well when I travel to their offices that I'm happy to play chaperone when they're out here. And but so that was up until yesterday. I think the last person flew out yesterday afternoon, and then yeah, just busy, busy, busy. Lots of changes going on at work, org changes and things like that. So that's usually kind of stressful, but the weekend is here, so happy Friday. Let's get to painting. What I'd like to do today is, I think we're about done. I saved the eyes for last. The part one, we just did the sketch. I mostly talked like I do. Part two, we did pretty much most of the things except for the eyes and the hair that goes across the face. And then I think today what we'll do is we'll work on the eyes a little bit, and hopefully finish those up, and then maybe get that hair that runs across the face. I don't want to spend too long tonight. Hopefully relax a little bit, watch a little Giants. I've been running around. I got off work about 5 o'clock today, and I kind of been running around ever since. I can't believe it's already 7:20. But well, let's get started painting. Looks like there's at least one person. If you want to say hello in the chat, that would be awesome. I tried to stream to instead of just YouTube. Oops. Hang on, my sister's calling. I gotta hang up. Instead of just YouTube like I usually do, I try to stream to Instagram Live and Facebook, and I'm not set up for Instagram Live apparently. And then Facebook, I'm not quite ready. I've got just all my Facebook friends and stuff. I'm not quite ready to share this with them all yet, but we will. But my Instagram is it's Ken Macintosh Paints, and that's pretty much just artists, so I feel comfortable doing that. But you guys know my colors by now. I checked before we started, and they're all pretty much squeezed out and fresh. But yeah, let's get started. Eyes. So let's just get to work. I'm going to start on, let's see, let me make sure that I'm not blocking anything. I do have my maul stick out for this bit. And I do have a pretty small brush out. What am I using? I'm using a Pure Synthetic Round by Connoisseur, and it's a 0. and it's just I like to do the kind of like where the eyelashes is. It's kind of the darkest part of the eyes. I'm not using pure black for this, but I'm using raw umber, and I know that most of this is going to be under hair, but let's just, for completeness sake, let's finish that. Draw that eye a little bit better. Her eyes look really green, but I like to have, what I'll do is I'll do the whole eye black. You guys have seen me do this before. I usually do the whole eye black, and then I'll paint the green in on top of it. Just look at the camera, make sure I'm not blocking too much. Let me get my head over here a little bit to the left, to my left. This is all pretty dark. If you want to paint along, I'm way ahead of you now, but if you're just finding us and want to paint along the source image, the link to the source image is in the is on the description. Let's get some of that white around the eye. I hate this mall stick. It's always, I can't, if it's not in my hand, it's pretty much falling somewhere. I gotta find some place to make a hook for it. I'm gonna get a different brush for the white part of the eye. And we've talked about it before. The whites of the eye are never really white. It's usually closer to the skin tone. So I'm going to use those convenience colors that we've been using. So buff titanium and rosy beige to make the color for the eyes. No white. So my white is up here. You won't see me touch that white. Where I will use the white is for the catch lights. So, and her left eye is kind of about 2 o'clock. But let's just get some of this in here. Get a little bit down here. And then just FYI, so this is a Trical Golden Taklon. It's a long flat. It's pretty small. I think it's my smallest long flat. While I'm here, I think I'm just going to drop a little bit over on this side. It seems weird, but I haven't painted since Monday. I don't paint every day, but I probably paint every other day. I would love to paint every day, but I got a job, a full-time job, so sometimes it's hard. Let's play around with that green a little bit. So her eyes are pretty green. Let's see what we can do. I'm not gonna go. Let's try this light blue first for the base, and then to make it green, let's try some cad lemon. That's a little oversaturated, I think. Oh, and that's right in the reflection, so you guys probably can't see that very well. But let's put some on there and just see what it looks like. It'd be too soft now, but or too thin. So remember the lightest part of the iris is directly opposite from the catch light, and that catch light is going to be about here. So this is going to be the lightest part of the iris down here. I usually don't start with the lightest first, but that's kind of what I ended up mixing. Let's get some blue back in there, more blue. Around where the catch light is, I'm going to make it dark, dark, dark. Or relatively dark, actually, I'll say. Make it even darker. I'm going to get another brush for the black of the pupil, so we can fix that a little bit. And I am going to use ivory black for that. It's ivory. It's mostly raw umber, and then I've got a little bit of ivory black mixed in too. And then we'll break that up a bit with the catch light. I'm going to make the shadow darker too. This brush is quite a bit wider. It's a 6. It's another Golden Taklon long flat. All right, I'm going to put that aside because that's going to be our black brush. And then we'll go back to this one, which is our green brush. And I know I spent too long on this, but it kind of takes a while to warm up. Kind of fussing around a little bit, but clean up this line on the bottom here. Clean up this line here. And where this catch light is going to go, she's got some dark colors around here too. So let's do, I got some French ultramarine blue. I'm going to drop in here knowing that that catch light is going to be around it. We might change it later, but I'm gonna drop that catch light in there just so that we can see how we're doing. And then we'll do that little fold for her eyelid, and then we'll move over to the other eye. And I'm going to mix some light blue into it, and she's got a little bit of a reflection down below her eye. Comes like straight down. And then let's fix that. I got like a little hair of white that kind of went out into the pupil. Let's fix that a little bit. I'm just going to grab right out of that pure ivory black to fix that. And man, I am not used to using a maul stick. It always moves on me, and that always makes my heart jump. All right, let's do the eyelid a little bit. And for that, we're gonna, so wherever the skin folds, it's usually red or warm. Or two pieces of skin meet, it's usually red. It's not black. Not black. And then since I've got the transparent red oxide on my brush, what we'll do is we'll do her tear duct, and we'll do kind of her eyeshadow is kind of red. So like under her eyes on the left side is kind of red, like here is red. The line around her eye is red. Of course, her tear ducts are red. We could play with the whites of our eyes a little bit more. But yeah. All right, let's get started with that a little bit. I'm going to mix in some buff titanium just to lighten it up a little bit. I'm sorry, this is the rosy beige to lighten it up a little bit. You guys see that? A little bit lighter. We'll start with that. And so this starts pretty close to the tear duct. Goes up and around, and then disappears behind some hair. This whole area shouldn't be black at all. This is actually pretty light. It gets really light right here. So tomorrow we're doing a plein air session. Recall Wednesday nights we paint from live models, and then on Saturdays we paint. It's called plein air, so like it's like landscape painting. Plein air means I think open air. But on Saturdays we do outdoor landscape painting. And tomorrow we're going to be painting at Rockaway Beach in Pacifica, which is one of my favorites. If it was up to if I wasn't worried about losing members or not providing enough variety for our members, I would just paint at Rockaway Beach every week. I know I say that about a couple places, but Rockaway Beach is one of my favorite beaches. It's got black sand, and it's easy to get to. It doesn't cost anything to park there. Oh yeah, it's beautiful. There is that. It is beautiful. And where we go is it's tucked. It's a little bit out of the way, and it's usually not super busy there. So that's fun. The weather, it's been pretty crappy in the Bay Area, but boy, this week was just beautiful. Make sure there's my head in the way. A little bit. The weather has been just beautiful. I think it's kind of been in the 70s the last couple days, which for me is perfect. I don't need it to be any warmer or cooler. All right, I'm gonna blend this a little bit. And that's probably a little too literal. I noticed the black iris is kind of a little too literal. It looks like all the black is too literal, to be honest. So I'm gonna knock that down a little bit, I think. Let's try it with just a little bit of buff titanium in the raw umber. That's not too bad. So what I've been trying to do is use less titanium white to lighten my colors. And since I've discovered this buff titanium and this rosy beige, I've been using that more to lighten my colors. I just like the effects of it better. It doesn't look so chalky. It doesn't feel like cheating. For some reason, just adding white to lighten your color just seems like cheating. If you can, you should always try to use chroma to lighten your color. So like use yellow or golden ochre, or or now I've got these convenience colors. I'm not telling everybody to go out and buy rosy beige or buff titanium, but if you could use yellow instead of, say, white, it just looks better. It just looks more natural. And you could use titanium white. You just it seems like the less I use of it, the more natural things look. I do want to make that red around the folds of the eyelids a little bit redder. I got sidetracked and wanted to clean up the eyelid. So let's do that. And then let's do the, well, we got a little bit of this on our brush. Let's do a little bit of that tear duct. The tear duct is really big. And I usually like to do the tear duct when I do the whites of the eye, because you could kind of blend kind of the mid-tone area, kind of blend back and forth, blend the white a little bit, blend the tear duct a little bit. Because it seems like the closer to the tear duct, the redder the eye is, or the warmer the eye is. And then as you get out to the iris, the cooler it is. Seems to be the way I usually end up painting it, at least. Just kind of thinking about where that eye comes down. Oh, and then let's get a little bit more. This brush is way too small for this, but we said that we were gonna redden this up a little bit. Oh my goodness. See what happens when the mall stick drops a little bit? That should be dry though. Let me see if I can just wipe that off. All right. We'll call that eye good for now. Creepy. One eye is creepy. Sometimes two eyes is creepy, but that line is actually darker. Let's get the fold of the eyelid. Let's get a little more black, or a little more pure transparent red oxide. That'll be the best part of the painting for me, and it's all going to be covered in here. Something that this week when I was looking at this, I don't like how dark the nostrils are. So I'm going to just kind of, I guess at this point it's kind of glazing. Just kind of a thin coat of that red over the nostrils. Yeah. Let's blend this all the way out. Hair ends right here, but that's fine. And then I'm going to blend under this a little more. All right. I'm just, when I'm looking down on the bottom left here, I'm looking at the image. I'm looking kind of at what you see. I may have to move my iPad on this side. All right, let's do that other eye. Let's do that other eye. So I think drawing wise, it's not bad. I think as long as we just stick with what I've kind of drawn here already, we should be in good shape. Of course, everything inside here is all needs to be kind of redone, but like the shape of the eye, I like. We got to fix that eyelid a little bit. We kind of got to do that. We're just doing the same thing on this side. So let's do it. I'm not going to go so dark on the on the eyelashes this time. I'm just kind of looking, I'm kind of flipping my eyesight back and forth between the two images, between the image and my painting. Let's drew the iris. I can set that up there actually. My irises are maybe a little bigger than what's in the source image, but I'm okay with that. Let's do the pupil. It's kind of square almost. And then above it is catch light. And they're creepy. Creepy, creepy, creepy. I don't know why I say creepy. It's kind of it's uncanny. It's weird that painting is creepy to me. Painting portraits is creepy to me. Just the fact that it looks like an eye. It looks like you're creating an eye on a piece of paper. And I don't know, it just gives me those eyes kind of make me feel uncomfortable. I've talked about it before. That's the whole thing about the uncanny valley with AI. How, the closer you get to a perfect looking, like what was that show? Ex Machina. Like as beautiful as, it was just an actress playing an AI, but like as beautiful as it was, as close to human as it looks, it's just something creepy about it. It's the same with how like we're getting PG-17 a little bit, but like those sex dolls. There's a kind of a craze 10 years ago where they're making these sex dolls that look like almost like real people. They were actually using porn stars to be the mold or the base for the molds for them. And I just know about this because I watch Howard Stern. Trust me, I haven't spent a fortune on sex dolls, but I just remembered and I'm hoping you guys remember how creepy they are and how creepy they look. It seems like, and anyways, painting is that way for me. It seems like the more accurate a portrait is, the creepier it is. And at my skill level, about the only thing that I make that looks close to real are the eyes. And so that's the creepiest part. For me, anyways. I'm kind of rambling. I'm tired. It's Friday. But if you ever look at a portrait or whatever and you're like, ooh, that's creepy, try to think about what it is that makes it feel creepy to you, if it does. And if you don't know anything about Uncanny Valley or never heard of the term before, look it up. I have a feeling in the next year everybody's going to know what I'm talking about. Just there's so much stuff going on with AI, with all the different AI tools that are out there for art, and ChatGPT, and the offsite that I was at this week had a lot to do with how Microsoft is using AI for their services. The next year or so is going to be pretty incredible as all these services start integrating AI in everything that they do. Let's play with that green again for the iris. So this one's a little weird. Like, I want to tell you guys, like, these are the steps that I do to make an eye. And I'll tell you the steps that I do. And they're not traditional, like if you take a drawing class or a painting class. They may do eyes a little different, but what I do is I'll do the outline of the iris. Basically, what I'll do is I'll do the whole. I don't really care about the eye. I'll do the whole thing in dark, and just kind of make the shape of the eye. If I'm doing charcoal, I'll even do the brow. Like, I'll include the top of the eyebrow. I'll do the brow, and I'll go all the way down to the darkest part of the bottom of the eye. I'll use the tear duct as kind of a waypoint or a landmark. So I'll make sure that that's super accurate so that I could use it to measure out my other eye. Then I'll do the outline. I'll start with the eyelash, and then I'll do the bottom of the eye. That's usually, I guess, what I'm saying is I'll work from dark to light. So the darkest part for me is always for ladies, is always the eyelashes. And sometimes I'll get lucky, and then the bottom eyelid is just as dark, like this case. Like, if you look in the source image, the left part of her eyelid is really dark. And then also the fold of the eye is usually dark. So I'll do those lines first. So I'll do the shape of the outer eye, from the eyelash to the top of the bottom eyelid. I'll do the crease in the eyelid, like we just did. I'll do the iris all black, and then what I'll do is whatever the eye color is, I'll paint in, and then I'll leave the pupil. And then what I'll do usually is I'll go back and I'll redefine the pupil with black. I'll do the catch light. I'll do opposite the catch light. I'll usually make lighter. At some point between making the iris and fussing with the pupil, what'll happen is usually when I put in, like in this case, the greens or the blues of in the iris, sometimes I'll jack up the whites of the eye. So what I'll do is I'll jack up either the whites of the eye or the black of the pupil or the black of the iris. So when I'm going back and I'm painting the whites of the eye, I'll redefine that line when I'm doing, and that's pretty much it. I'll probably go back and make some eyelashes at some point, depending on where her hair lays across her eyes. You'll see over on this side, that's what I've done. I've made the eyelash on the top. I've made kind of a really light outline of the top of the bottom of her eyelid. I kind of redefined her iris. I created her pupil. At some point in there, I kind of made the fold of her eyelid. And then now I'm going to go in and I'm going to do the color for the iris. I'll redefine the pupil, and I'll do the catch light. I'll lighten up the opposite side of the catch light. And then yeah, let's do that. And I usually do the eye. I usually do both eyes in the same sitting, and that's why I waited last time. It's because I don't want to start on an eye and not be able to finish both eyes. So if I see I've only got 10 minutes left or whatever, I'll be like, I'll just start on this on the next sitting. And then I try not to break, there's that dark line of the iris. I try not to break that, but sometimes I do. Brushes are super, it's hard to do really thin stuff with brushes. Unless, this brush is pretty small, but I mean, it's still probably, it's big for that kind of thing. So what you do, for those of you that don't paint, you might not know this, but what you do is every time you lay down a brush stroke, you kind of break something else. Like, so this brush here is obviously too thick to make that thin line. But what I'll do is I'll make a thin line knowing that I'm going to go in now and make the white of the eye. And what I'll do is I'll redefine the white. I'll redefine that line with the white in the iris color. So it's kind of, I know I've mentioned it in other videos, but you're always finding and losing things, always fixing stuff. I think I said in one of the earlier videos that I had an epiphany at one of the workshops that, like, even watching Xiaoming Wu, he does the same thing. Like, every time he lays down a brushstroke, he jacks something up that needs to be fixed, right? And then, the epiphany was that, I guess, when you're done painting, when you're okay with the last thing that you broke by fixing something, right? So, anybody that paints probably knows what I'm talking about. Anybody that doesn't paint is probably like, it's a good thing it's a weekend for this guy, because he sounds crazy. Needs some rest. All right. So this one there's definitely two different light sources, because this eye, the catch light, is at about 2 o'clock. This eye, the catch light, is at 12 o'clock or midnight. So there's definitely two light sources. So since this one, the catch light is on the top, I'm going to lighten the bottom. So instead of adding white, I'm adding yellow to lighten that. Like we talked earlier, it would be really easy just to dip into the white, but let's see what we could do with yellow first. So lighten with chroma instead of lighting with white. Let's try that. Let's have that catch light. It's almost like she's watching TV or something. I could see the catch light on the right looks like a screen, and then the catch light on the left looks like a single point. But all right, catch lights are white. That is something that you'd use your titanium white for. And then I'm going to use, instead of this brush, I'm going to use this round brush. Small round. And her catch light is so big, it's almost like a square. It's kind of weird, like in most portraits, like the catchlight is just like a pinprick. And I guess I could have just done a pinprick with this, but you can see in the source image that it's not a pinprick. I think that's the problem with using images instead of painting from life. Or an artifact of it, I guess. That's a lot. So let's just put a little bit more black in there just to break that up a little bit. All right, let's just leave that for now. And I'm going to lighten up. It's basically from 5 to 6 o'clock is where I want to lighten up. Alright, let's use this color. This is dried a little bit. I had too much medium in it earlier. Well, you've got eyes. You've got eyes. Let's work on that fold in the eyelid a little bit. Since I started looking at this painting today, I've been trying to decide if I should do the freckles. My friend JJ that was out, I think he was like, you gotta paint the freckles. The question is do you paint the freckles one at a time, or do you find a way to imitate the freckles without painting them one at a time? Because this style of paint is not supposed to be hyperrealism where you would paint every freckle, but I might have to paint a couple of them. How's this look with no light? No good. With the lens distortion is kind of weird. It's like her right eye is kind of looking up. It's kind of looking up this way. But then this, with the lens distortion, this eye is kind of looking up this way. And I got my iPad right next to it. So it is kind of weird. It is kind of weird. And that's like, I never, like, if I spent more time thinking about, like, why am I even painting this thing? And what is it interesting about this image that I wanted to paint it? It's probably stuff like that. Like, I know that there's something interesting about it that I want to explore more. I may not know what it is, but just like when I saw this, I'm just like, oh, man, what an interesting portrait. But now as I'm painting it, I'm discovering things like, well, isn't that weird how her eyes aren't looking in the same direction? Both eyes aren't looking in the same direction. So I'm sitting here, well, maybe that's why I thought it was interesting. Because she's not cross-eyed, she's like wall-eyed. In real life, she's probably neither. It's just the lens distortion from the selfie just makes it look that way. And I hope she never hears this video, which I'm sure she won't. Well, we've got two eyes. And I think, why don't we put some eyelashes in this right eye? So let's not use the ivory black. Let's use the raw umber, and we'll start with that. And they're kind of little triangles, and be sure to take a look, because the triangles are different. The 12 o'clock triangles are different than the other angles. And be sure, like, wherever you're at on kind of, if the eye is a clock, they always go straight out. They go out from the center of the eye. At least the big thick ones. And then what you could do is go in between them with smaller ones and break stuff up. But I always try to make the big one kind of straight out from the radius, or the center of the eye, sorry. I'm not sure if I want to do too much down here, because I think I gotta redden up a lot of that eye. Can we do something over here? Keeping in mind that we're going to cover this with hair. There is one that goes pretty far out, though. The outsides of the eyelash for me are the funnest part. And they kind of really make the eye. All right, let's stop there for now with the eyelashes, just for the sake of time. The very last thing I'm going to do is that the hair that goes to the center of the head. There's a big clump that comes straight down here. There's some that comes over here and covers at least the eyelid. It's going to cover those nice eyelashes that we just made. It's actually going to go in front of this swath of hair here. There's a light part that comes down. You can see all this in the source image, but before we do that, let's make sure. Let's take a look at her skin tone for the rest of her face, like around her nose was kind of bugging me. Like, I was thinking that her nose is a little darker in some areas. We talked about her freckles. Like, do I want to, maybe I'll put a couple freckles on there and we'll just see how that looks. But kind of before we put the freckles are kind of like highlights. You can't really do the freckles until you're okay with your base skin tone. And then also the light, this light above her lip, I don't think I like. And then I think I could get some more highlights in her lip. And those may be with titanium white, because the buff titanium to me just doesn't look light enough. But all right, let's paint. So we're done with this little brush for now. I'm gonna put it down here for later so that I remember to clean it. I think we're gonna use. Let's go big again. So we're gonna use that golden Taklon. This is a 12 flat, and it's called a flat, but I think it's technically a long flat. The number is 2512. I think you want to make sure you get a long flat. Because regular flats are usually as wide as they're long. They're like a square. So I think this is a long flat. Yeah, let's play with the skin tones a bit. So I was arguing that it needed to be darker, and then my friend Jeremy was like, well, it'll get darker when you add the freckles. But I know there's definitely some spots that are darker, like around the nose here. And yeah, I guess I'm kind of glazing. I'm putting I didn't oil out the painting, which I don't think I'm going to get into what oiling out is. I didn't oil it out, but I'm basically putting thin transparent layer over an existing layer. Definitely blending with my finger a little bit. I don't know. I think it's pretty fine. Her neck is a little weird. Like there's some of the black coming through where I had the previous line. That's a little weird. I'm just gonna make it darker. I don't want to draw any attention to that area. Maybe just knock down anything that looks weird just so that your eye isn't drawn to it. I'll take a picture. The light is really weird. Either if I have the light on, it's too light. If I have the light off, it's too dark. So what I'll do is I'll post a picture of this on my Instagram. The links for all that stuff, my Instagram and my Facebook group, and this YouTube channel, they're all in the description. I'm not sure if that was what I wanted to do. Should probably add that line back. Let's add that line back. So we're not done with this little guy yet. Get our maul stick out. I hate the maul stick. I hate that line where it's close to her tear duct, so I'm going to get rid of that. Speaking of tear ducts, we forgot our tear duct on this side. Let's check our tear ducts for highlights too. Looks like in the image, there's quite a bit of highlight bouncing off of those. So again, I think we'll use pure buff titanium for that. We'll at least try it. If that's not light enough, we'll add some light. But let's try it first. That looks pretty good to me. Just a little bit there, and definitely a big dot right there. Big dot. That looks pretty good. What else? Let's clean that brush. Let's see if we darken. The last thing I did last time was I darkened quite a bit. Even JJ was asking, he's like, why did you darken her up so much? Did it look pretty good before I had done that? In real life, you guys got to trust me that it looks a lot different in person than it does on this video on the right. Just because the camera's trying to compensate for the light setup. But let's try to add some of that light back. My head in the way a little bit. And then I said I wanted to fix those lips a little bit. There's some definitely, I don't have to do the whole thing, but there's definitely some highlights that I didn't take advantage of. And then we're going to get, so the lightest lights. And then let's get that hair in there, but the lightest light is right here on the nose. And this line kind of goes right down the center. Pretty light on the top of her chin. This might be way too light though. I'm gonna leave it for now, see how it grows on me. I probably need to do something about her about her eyebrows. Might have gotten a little crazy with them last time. I do love them though. This is pretty light over here. This is light here. My foot It's falling asleep. Oh, looks like my Giants are playing. Time to wrap this up. We got to watch some baseball. Seriously, time to wrap this up. Let's do the line above that lip real quick. I think we're going to use this brush again that I said that we're not going to use anymore, the small round. Man, looks like the Mets are already kicking our butt. Pete Alonso just hit a home run. I think some dude hit a home run just before him. Pete Alonso's a beast. If you don't follow baseball, he's pretty much, if he's in the home run derby, he wins the home run derby. He doesn't look like that big of a guy, but he is no joke. No joke. That guy can crush a ball. I don't know who's pitching for the Giants tonight, but they're off to the best start. All right. All right, let's do this hair. Let's do this hair. And then we'll call it a night. Maybe we'll call it a painting. We might be done. I'm not going to do earrings and all that stuff. All right. Let's get this brush back out. A sip of our tasty beverage. Scary, right? We did all this work and we painted this. You know, what do I got? Probably 3 hours into it. And not talking to this at the same time. And now we're just going to paint over the top of it, or over the top of a lot of it. And when I do this, I usually do this part where I'm covering up spots that I previously painted. I usually wait until the layer underneath it is dry. Because then if I do screw up pretty bad, I can just wipe it off. I try to pay attention to things as well when I'm doing this. It's kind of, you know, once you're laying those brush strokes down, it's kind of hard to think. You either need to, it's kind of, painting is weird. You either get to paint or you get to think. When you're painting, it's kind of hard to think. I guess is where I'm going with this. So I try to think of like where the guardrails are. And I try to stay away from them because, like, I know even though I'm making this swath, these big swaths across her face, none of the hair is anywhere in between her eyelashes on the top and the top of her eyelids on the bottom. Same on both sides. So she somehow, and that's kind of always the way it is with these types of things, is she somehow managed to, even though her hair is in front of her face, her eyes are uncovered. So probably right before she took the picture, she probably, pulled her hair out of her eyes, which totally makes sense, right? But so as I'm making these lines, and I'm definitely sneaking up on them, I'm aware of the fact that I don't want to. I can make them as thick as I want. I can do whatever I want with them, pretty much, but I don't want to break the border of the eyes. And then I worked dark to light again, right? So get the dark color in. Um, don't forget about there's kind of a black border that we don't want to breach either. I know this is pretty dark here. And you could be a little fearless. Don't be careless. Yeah, you could fix pretty much everything, but it gets pretty complicated to fix when you're doing this above eyes. But don't be afraid to do it. But set yourself up to be successful. Like I said, one of my main things is I'll wait. I'll wait till the under painting is dry. You don't have to. You don't have to. You could be even more fearless and just paint right over the top of it. But and then I should squeeze out some more of the gold ochre. Let's do a time check. Yeah, we're a little over an hour. Yellow ochre. Somehow I got yellow ochre. That's probably fine. It's definitely different, but it's fine. Ooh, I got a light in my face today. It's probably a little too bright, but let's try buff titanium to lighten it up. Remember, this is a painting, not a photograph. Try to get it as close as possible, but no need to get too fussy about it. She's got some thin hairs too. What do I got? What can we make those? Oh, I got my liner. Let's see what we can do with this liner brush. Yeah, got a couple thin ones out there. Maybe start a little higher up. Yeah, I like that. And there's this one here. Again, we don't want to recreate every hair, but let's get a little bit of texture in there. This is a scary one to me. There's one that comes right across her nose here. Scary. But that's just something that we could fix. This brush really needs to be cleaned. I have a new small brush in here somewhere. Would be perfect. If I can find it. Let's see. See if it's over here. Got a few brushes. Here it is. I don't know what it is about artists and dropping brushes, but man, artists drop a lot of brushes. On Wednesday nights when we're in the studio, about every 5 minutes you hear tink, 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 tink. Somebody dropping their damn brush. Myself included. Check this brush out. It's a watercolor brush. It's a number 4. Protege is the model. All right, so what are some things about this hair that we haven't captured? It's pretty crimson, or it's pretty it's got some cad red in it for sure. Kind of right here is pretty cad red. Let's get some cad red in there. Speaking of things that are terrifying. So, got some cad red in there. Where else do we got some cad red? We got some up here. Got some down here. Got some over here. And then I think it's darker. Let's get some, it's darker kind of towards the bottom. So let's add some of that darkness back. And I'll admit, it probably wasn't that much cad red, but I like it. What else? I wish you guys were here to say, Ken, you forgot about this, or you forgot about that, or that looks terrible. Fix it. How about the background? Do we need to make that darker? Oh, how about the freckles? You guys forgot to remind me about the freckles. Oh, what about the freckles? Oh, sorry, my leg's falling asleep. Don't get old. I don't want that dark line. I got cat red on my fingers. Let me get rid of all this. Look at that finger. Still got cat red. The problem with cat red is there's no getting rid of it until I just wash my hands. All right. I haven't forgot about the freckles, I swear. Let's get those freckles. Let's try a couple freckles. I think what we'll do is we'll use this brush. So I think that's a mix. Let's get some. So golden ochre, yellow ochre, and then I've got that mixed in with raw umber. Let's just try. Let's try one or two. There's one. Jeremy will be so proud. I think that's the right color. The hard part is not making patterns. So she's got a couple on her neck. I think I want to try let me try this other round. I'm not sure about that color either. Let's lean more towards the raw umber side. That might be a little too dark. Gotta remember to call my sister back. Things to do. All right. How did we do? Should we get a little closer to that eye? Left eye. We've also got a streak or two that comes down from here. I'm a little uncomfortable doing it though because I don't have a good liner brush. We can lighten this up a bit though. one random hair that goes down like that. I think that's pretty good. That's good enough probably to call it a night. I think that will also end our. I think that will also end this painting. I may work on it a little bit down the road, or a little ways, but I'm sure you're getting tired of watching me paint it. Time to do some other paintings. So let's see. Let's call this one done for now. I'm pretty happy with it. You can't see all the freckles that I can see. Looks like a couple more. We have to knock them down a little bit. Yeah, let's call this one done. I'm gonna quit fussing with it. I want to watch some baseball. So, I was trying to think of what to do for the next painting. Let's see if I can show you guys. So, there's a Xiaoming Wu painting that I like, that I was thinking of maybe doing that one. There's also, if you guys are Star Wars fans, I need to find a better source image, but Grogu in his new IG-12, I don't want to make any spoilers or whatever, but thinking about doing that one. If you watch the entire series, you probably know why I don't want to do it. But I need to find a better source image if I want to do Grogu in his new IG-12 suit. But yeah, maybe one of those. I kind of don't want to do another. That's my problem, is I kind of don't want to do Grogu and IG-12 for reasons. Like I said, if you watch this whole series, you know why. And I kind of, time to move on from the Xiaoming Wu paintings. I might do it for myself just as a master study, but I don't know if you guys are interested in seeing me do another one. If you are interested in seeing me do another master copy of Xiaoming, put a note in the comments. But I kind of feel weird, you want to do one master, you don't want to do an exact copy. Although he's fine with what I'm doing these for. I'm just putting them in my notebook. I'm not selling anything. I'm referring to him quite often. I'm not cropping his signatures. I'm doing everything right, but probably time to move on. But I'm just so addicted to him, the way he just captures light and all the colors in his light and all the colors in his shadows and his skin tones, and I think he's just incredible. Just incredible. But anyways, still thinking about what I want to do next, but I think we'll call this one done. Let me get rid of it. Let me get rid of this. I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe. I really appreciate the company. I really appreciate, there's been a few nice comments on YouTube already. I really appreciate the nice comments. But we'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.